would you agree or disagree that the media presents narratives and hides facts from the general public often?
I mean, I think the media, of course, is presenting a narrative. Everybody is presenting a narrative. Like, nobody's just reporting on some facts. Like, you need a way to weave all the facts together. We're not going to get a random accounting of random information at a given point in time. You're going to get like a story relating to an event. Now, whether or not, I think the better question is, do they present it in a politically partisan way? And that seems to be pretty true, although I think the problem is a little overstated. But I mean, I don't think narratives are bad. You're always necessarily going to need like a story when you're telling a story. It's not like today.
Yeah, but you know that there's a difference between people who are constructing narratives on purpose versus people who are trying to have an unbiased or objective viewpoint. You can still say that the unbiased or objective viewpoint is narrative building. Maybe it is to a degree, but I think that there's a distinction to be made, and that you can almost intuit people who are trying to be unbiased versus people who are totally biased when it comes to
and I think
the
that's,
construction of these things.
I think that's the better question, is do we think that the media is trying to intentionally lie? I don't really think that's generally the case. I think people definitely have their biases and they definitely go off in a certain direction, but are the media trying to intentionally tell lies? I don't think in general that's true. I don't think there's ever been much evidence.
I think Fox News does.
Well, I think we
so.
make a delineation there then, because I think that part of the narrative building of hiding key facts is their lies of omission. If by giving you that fact that you know, it would change the narrative necessarily, then I think that they're lying.
Sure, but I think that we take that process for granted, that like a fact would necessarily change a thing. Right? I think that that's kind of like up to some extent, that could be up to your interpretation. I'm not going to sit here and say the media is perfect. And I know that they exclude and include certain types of facts. And, you know, the question is like, are they doing this because they genuinely believe they're trying to tell a true story? Or are they like intentionally omitting something or including something to sell a lie?
The main driving force behind your clicks, views, things like this is sensationalism, which I don't think any of you guys on the left are going to argue that sensationalism or high octane media sells better than kind of the boring droll. If you're going to sell a narrative that's high octane, you almost have to kind of ease back on some of the facts, don't you?
Well, you have to lie at all. The reality is really entertaining right now. There's a lot of crazy going on. I don't think you have to tell a lie, right? Like,
I'm not saying they're lying. I'm saying they might omit key facts that, by just the omission of them, would change the narrative, even from something that might be like a more high octane, more engaging, style of story.
They omitted an entire political candidate that was on stage with a Republican and Democrat. There was a candidate from the Libertarian Party, and the omission of the Libertarian candidate didn't have any particular goal of increasing the ratings. It was just based on the fact that they don't want to present an alternative to the politicization that they want.
Do you think if I announced I was running for president tomorrow under the Labor Dylan ticket that they would have to put me on the debate stage with the president of the United States?
I think that if you went through all of the ridiculous caps they put on and the difficulties they put in even being on that stage, that yes, they should show you.
But that's not the problem of the media. That's the problem of the system and checks and balances, the system that we put in place that is built for a two-party system. The system is built upon it. The laws that we've introduced is built upon it. So if they're not going to include him because he doesn't have a shot. Do you think that people are really that interested in hearing somebody who's never going to be president in the first place on stage, taking up time from the two people who actually have a shot at becoming president?
Yes.
Having control of a nuclear arsenal.
Well, that's what the media said about Donald Trump, that he didn't have a shot at being president.
They didn't take
and
away
then
any
he won
media
the
time from him,
nomination,
though.
and then he earned time on the debate stage by becoming the nominee and then running and then winning.
Yeah, I feel like we actually saw this addressed really soundly with Bernie Sanders. People said that the media was avoiding Bernie Sanders because they didn't want to give him a shot, because if everybody heard what he was saying, they would like him. And Bernie didn't get very much media coverage, and they were like, oh, well, see, this is intentional. They're never going to cover him. But then there was a small period of time where I think it was after Iowa, New Hampshire, Bernie started to get popular in the polls, and all of a sudden, was it after Nevada? Yeah. All of a sudden in the polls, he started to increase, and all of a sudden he started to get a lot of media time. There was a lot of mainstream attention given to Bernie Sanders, but it just like coincided with his polls. And I think you can say the same thing with a lot of the Republican candidates as well. If you're a right-leaning person, can you raise your hand?
What do you mean by right-leaning? Exactly.
Oh my God, are you actually serious?
Right-wing.
Okay. I'm pretty sure. Okay, wait. Okay. Hands up if you're right wing. I'm just curious. Let's just check out. Hands up if you're like right wing. Okay. Saying you're right wing. Yeah. Okay. Now here's. Okay. Keep your hands.
What is extreme right wing?
I can't finish.
Just wait. We'll get to that. Leave
Jesus Christ.
real quick.
Put your hands up. You're right wing.
The dog whistle for.
It's not a. I'm not dog whistling anything. Holy shit! You're so triggered.
Some people would say, dude. Some people would say that.
Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot. I don't even know.
It's not like a victim, right?
I was going to ask, is there any right-wing person here? Is there any right-wing person here who's a fan of the Daily Wire?
No.
Okay, that's what I mean when I say you guys are all far right. Okay, you guys are very, very far right.
Yeah, but
That's
that
what I
doesn't
mean.
tell us anything.
No, it means when you say there's no conservative
Okay, hey,
representation in the
Dusty,
United States,
let me
what you're really
ask
saying there's
this.
no far right
I didn't
conservative
say that,
representation
just so
in the
you
United
know,
States,
just so
which
we're
is saying
clear.
there's no
I didn't say
left-leaning representation in the United
You know
States
what?
because there's no socialist or communist in mainstream media
we're-
either. That's the same
We're the
thing.
ones who
That's
sound-
what I wanted to
Hang on,
ask.
hang on.
Stop.
Time
We're
out.
the ones
Andrew,
who-
You
go
called
ahead.
me partisan.
Everybody,
Yeah.
help you. Leave Andrew go.
So let me ask you this, because we're the ones who sound triggered. I just got to ask you: Can all the left wingers raise their hand? Okay, great. All the left wingers have now raised their hand. Can you tell me? Do all of you guys accept the narrative of MSNBC?
Nope.
Broadly,
capitalist.
I think I'll
No,
broadly.
so are you
left.
far left?
I'll broadly
are you
let
far
it- I
left,
said-
Loner Box?
Okay.
Yes,
are
I
you
am
far
far left.
Loner Box is a
Yeah.
socialist, isn't he?
Well, what do you mean by
I don't
far
fucking
left,
know.
Andre? You could
Right,
maybe
what
a
do you
tanky?
mean?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Wait,
What
is
do you
it
mean?
Loner Box? Wait,
No, I'm joking. As in, I can own
Loner
my
Box
position
is-
without
is
being
a
a social
socialist.
weasel.
He's
Loner
fringe.
Box is a
He's fringe in
socialist. He'll
America.
admit that. Do you think Loner Box would say he's a mainstream left-leaning person? Like you guys are saying you're mainstream right-leaning people?
We didn't say we were. You
Then
just
why
made
did
it
you
sound
not
like-
Daily
say
Wire
you're
is
far
also
right? If you're
socialist.
admitting you're not mainstream right-leaning, then
Put your
why?
hands in your head. It doesn't make you smarter.
Holy okay.
It's just
May I-
courage. You
may
have
I
to
try
go
to
with,
interject and bring some-
conviction.
May I try to
No, not
bring-
yet, Rob.
Please,
We have
please, real quick. May I try to bring? I think that maybe part of the confusion here is people are accepting Destiny saying far right as a pejorative, but I think he's just saying right wing as in doesn't find what we see that's called the right wing, like Fox News, to actually be right wing. Is that a fair?
Yeah, I guess
statement of
far
what
right
you're
is
saying?
like a
it's not
slur to these
fair,
guys.
and
I'm
we can
sorry.
respond on our own.
Can we trust anything that the Russian media says?
Probably not.
If they provide enough evidence.
Which things do you think that we should trust coming out of the Russian mainstream media right now?
I don't
Anything?
know. Give me an example, and if they have
No.
enough
I
evidence,
was asking you for an example of things we should trust.
I don't think
Maybe
you should
something
trust.
that
I don't think you
verified
should
elsewhere.
outright trust anything reported by Russian state media. Why? What's
Ever?
the point? Probably not. Why? Right now, without you'd verify with other sources.
Should we trust the things that come out of the Ukrainian state media then?
it
My
all depends if
understanding
they
is
present enough
Ukrainian state media ran by the government like Russian state media is?
Yeah, but who
Ukrainian,
cares?
isn't it?
I'm
Who
asking
cares?
You, I'm asking
You're not
you
even
if we should or
equipped to
not.
engage with the question if you don't know the answer to that. It's the most important reason
You
we
haven't
even
answered
dismiss
my
something
question
like
yet.
RT because you don't even know what you're asking.
Just answer my question.
I don't- you don't know what you're
I don't
asking.
need your answer, then justify.
No, I don't. You don't even know what you're asking me.
Let me ask again.
Destiny,
Should we
I don't-
trust the thing that come out of the Ukrainian state media, Destin?
Dusty, I don't know the answer to the question, so tell me: is it ran by the state in Ukraine? Or
I don't
is it
know.
different?
If it was ran by the state, I probably wouldn't trust them on reporting on the war because it's the fucking state-ran media. But if it's an
Dylan,
independent media, then I'd probably be more keen to trust it. Anything that is
Why?
state media. Why would I not trust a government talking about how they're doing in a war? I don't
Yeah,
know, man.
well-
Go to a hat.
I'm
put in some
asking. No,
phrases
I'm
and pick it
asking you
out.
why you think that it would be less biased reporting one way or the other. if
Because
they're
the
both
government
narrative
being in
building.
charge of their media in regards to reporting to war, all of the incentives are lined up for them to lie about it, and for them to get fact checker called out on it. There's no competition to state-ran, state-owned media, and directions coming from Zelensky himself, like literally, might dictate what shows up in the headlines.